Stop scrolling. What you're about to hear in the next 25 minutes could save your life or the life of someone you love. There's a storm bearing down on America right now that's so powerful, meteorologists are running out of adjectives. 978 millibars. If that number means nothing to you, it will by the time we're done here. Here's the question everyone should be asking, but nobody is. Why are we seeing this exact pattern, this exact timing, in the week when more Americans are away from home than any other week of the year except Thanksgiving? I'm going to show you something in 30 seconds that your local weather forecast won't show you. 3 zones where this storm is going to hit hardest, and one of those zones is facing conditions they haven't seen in over a decade. But before we get there, let me make you a deal. Stay with me for 5 minutes, and I'll reveal the atmospheric pattern that's going to control not just this week, but the entire month of January and possibly beyond. It's hiding in plain sight, and once you see it, you'll understand why this winter is different. Look out your window right now. Is it snowing where you are? Is it cold? Or are you in one of the lucky zones that's still mild? Because what's happening across North America tonight is a study in extremes. Some areas are buried in snow with whiteout conditions. Others are still in the 50s and 60s. That contrast, that temperature difference, that's the fuel for what's coming. The Great Lakes are under assault. That's the only way to describe it. 5 lakes, all of them producing snow at the same time. Lake effect snow isn't some gentle dusting. It's industrial strength snow production, 2 to 3 inches per hour when the band's set up. And right now, they're all firing. Buffalo knows snow. They've seen it all. But even Buffalo is about to get tested. 2 feet of additional snow by Thursday, New Year's Day. Erie, Pennsylvania, same story. Watertown, New York, same story. These aren't small towns. These are cities with hundreds of thousands of people who are about to be cut off from the world. 60 miles per hour. That's the wind speed over the eastern Great Lakes right now. Not gusts, sustained winds. Take that wind and apply it to fresh, powdery snow. What do you get? A horizontal blizzard. Snow that's not falling down but flying sideways. Visibility that drops from a mile to 0 in the time it takes to blink. This is how people die. They step outside to check the mail and can't find their way back to the house. Now, those 3 zones I promised you. Zone 1 is the Great Lakes corridor. Every single Great Lake is producing lake effect snow right now. Michigan's Upper Peninsula, the Northern Lower Peninsula, northeastern Indiana, northern Ohio, northwestern Pennsylvania, western and central New York, all of it under siege. 6 to 12 inches in most places. With localized bands that could see double that. This isn't a one-day event. This is a siege that lasts through New Year's Day and beyond. Zone 2 is where things get violent. The Central Appalachians, higher elevations of West Virginia, western Maryland, southwestern Pennsylvania, these mountains are about to get hit with winds of 70 to 80 miles per hour. That's Category 1 hurricane force. But this isn't over warm ocean water. This is over snow and ice. Trees don't bend in those winds. They snap. And when they snap, they fall on power lines. And when power lines go down, people freeze. Zone 3 is the most insidious. Northern Maine, especially around Caribou, they're not getting snow, they're getting ice, freezing rain, 1/10 of an inch of ice accumulation through tomorrow night. You might be thinking 1/10 of an inch isn't much. You'd be wrong. Dead wrong. 1/10 of an inch of ice on a power line increases its weight by up to 40%. Add wind, and those lines come down. 1/10 of an inch of ice on a road makes it a skating rink. Every bridge, every overpass, every shaded curve becomes a crash waiting to happen. Let me tell you about a temperature shift that shouldn't be possible. Yesterday, Louis, Missouri hit the mid-70s. 70 degrees. December. At the same moment, Kansas City, which is in the same state, was in the low 20s. 50-degree temperature difference across Missouri. The Arctic front that moved through wasn't a gradual transition, it was a wall. On one side, summer, on the other side, deep winter. And that wall is now sitting over the eastern United States, and it's not moving. Here's where it gets personal. When was the last time you checked your emergency kit? Not thought about checking it Actually checked it, tested the flashlights, verified the batteries work, made sure you have enough food and water, because in the next 72 hours, tens of thousands of Americans are going to lose power. The ones who prepared will be uncomfortable. The ones who didn't will be in danger. Wind chill. It's a term we hear all the time, but do you really understand what it means? It's not just a feels-like temperature. It's a measure of how quickly your body loses heat. Tuesday morning, wind chills across Wisconsin and northern Illinois hit 5 to 20 below zero. At -20, exposed skin can get frostbite in under 10 minutes. You go outside without gloves to scrape your windshield, and before you finish, your fingers are numb. That numbness? That's the first stage of frostbite. But here's the part that should terrify you. That's not even the coldest air. Look north to Canada, Northwestern Territories, northern Saskatchewan, northern Manitoba. Wind chills there are hitting 50 to 60 below zero, -50, -60. At those temperatures, breathing hurts. The air freezes the moisture in your nostrils. Your lungs ache. And that air, right now sitting over northern Canada, is going to slide south through the first week of January. Not all of it, but enough of it to keep the eastern United States in a deep freeze. Remember that promise I made about the 5-minute mark? Here's the payoff. The pattern that's going to dominate January. Meteorologists call it a Greenland block. High pressure parks near Greenland and refuses to move. When that happens, it blocks the normal west to east flow of weather systems. Everything gets jammed up. Low pressure systems can't move out. They just spin in place. And what spins over us? Cold. Arctic cold. Not for days. For weeks. This Greenland block is forecast to persist through at least the middle of January. What does that mean? Multiple winter storms. Persistent cold. Snow that falls and doesn't melt. Ice that accumulates. Roads that stay dangerous. Heating bills that spike. Power grids that strain. This isn't one storm you weather and then life goes back to normal. This is a pattern. A regime change in the atmosphere. But here's what else it means, and this is important. Community becomes critical. When it's -10 outside and your power goes out, you can't make it alone. You need neighbors, you need help, and that means you also need to be the help for someone else. Scripture tells us to love our neighbor as ourselves. In winter, that's not abstract theology, that's concrete action. Checking on the elderly couple 3 doors down. Offering to pick up groceries for the single mom who can't leave her kids. Sharing your generator with someone whose medication needs refrigeration. This is when faith becomes works. Let me break down the timeline hour by hour because precision matters when lives are on the line. Right now, Monday night, December 29th, the storm is at peak intensity over Quebec. All 5 Great Lakes are producing lake-effect snow. Visibility is near zero in multiple locations. By tomorrow morning, Tuesday the 30th, colder air continues to pour in. Any lingering rain changes to snow. Wind chills plummet. By Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, the lake effect machine is still running at full speed. Bands are rotating, so the heaviest snow shifts from location to location, but everyone in the lake effect zone gets hit at some point. Wednesday is New Year's Eve. While most of America is thinking about parties and champagne, the Great Lakes and Northeast are just trying to survive. Snow continues. Wind continues. Cold continues. And then Thursday, New Year's Day 2026, the low-pressure system bottoms out to 950 millibars over Hudson Bay. That's borderline bomb cyclone intensity. The counterclockwise flow around that low keeps the Arctic pipeline open. Cold air continues to stream south. Lake effect snow continues to fire. This isn't winding down. This is still building. Now let's talk about visibility. Because this is where winter weather becomes a killer. You can have the best 4-wheel drive vehicle in the world, but if you can't see where you're going, it doesn't matter. Right now, across Michigan's Upper Peninsula, northeastern Indiana, northern Ohio, visibility is below a quarter mile in the heaviest snow bands. A quarter mile is 5 city blocks. Try navigating when you can only see 1 block ahead. Your brain can't process that. You lose all sense of direction and speed. Here's a statistic that will shock you. Winter weather kills more Americans annually than tornadoes, hurricanes, and lightning combined. More. Why? Because we don't respect it. A hurricane gets 24/7 news coverage. Evacuations. State of emergency. But snow? We've seen snow before. We think we can handle it. Until we can't. Until we're the car in the ditch. Until we're the heart attack victim who shoveled one too many times. Until we're the person who froze to death because the power went out and we weren't prepared. If you're planning to travel in the next 72 hours through the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, or Northeast, I need you to ask yourself one question. Is this trip worth dying for? I know that sounds dramatic, but every winter, people die making unnecessary trips. They have plans, they have reservations, they have family waiting, and they get in their car and drive into conditions they can't handle. And they don't come home. Don't be that person. Cancel. Reschedule. Disappoint people. Better disappointed than dead. Let me explain the science behind lake effect snow because understanding it helps you understand the danger. The Great Lakes right now are around 40 degrees. The air flowing over them is around 10 degrees or colder. That 30-degree temperature difference creates instability. The air rapidly warms as it crosses the lake, picks up moisture, and then rises. As it rises, it cools. As it cools, the moisture condenses and falls as snow. The longer the fetch, the distance the air travels over water, the more moisture it picks up, and all that moisture gets dumped on the downwind shore in concentrated bands. Lake Erie might be the smallest of the Great Lakes, but it's the most efficient snow producer. Why? It's shallow. Shallower water warms and cools faster than deep water. So, in early winter, Lake Erie is relatively warm compared to Superior, and that temperature contrast is what drives lake effect. That's why Buffalo gets crushed with snow year after year. They're on the downwind side of Lake Erie with perfect fetch for snow production. Traverse City, Michigan is looking at 6 to 12 inches through Thursday. Marquette, Michigan, same range. These cities know how to handle snow. They've got the equipment, they've got the experience. But even for them, this is pushing limits. When you're getting snow every day for 5 days straight, you run out of places to put it. Plows can clear roads, but where do you pile the snow? Parking lots fill up. Sidewalks become impassable. Life just grinds to a halt. Now let's talk about the ice situation in northern Maine because this is a disaster in slow motion. Freezing rain is one of the most dangerous weather phenomena we have. It's rain that freezes on contact with surfaces. Roads become ice rinks instantly. Power lines accumulate weight. Trees become glass sculptures. And here's the problem. You can't see ice. Black ice is invisible. You're driving along thinking the road is clear, and then suddenly you're spinning out of control. 1/10 of an inch of ice accumulation is enough to bring down tree branches. Those branches fall on power lines. Power goes out. And when power goes out in northern Maine in late December with temperatures in the 20s, homes become freezers. People try to heat with their oven. Carbon monoxide builds up. They go to sleep and don't wake up. This is how preventable tragedies happen. Let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. What's your relationship with God? Because in times like this, when nature reminds us how small and powerless we are, that question becomes urgent. Are you prepared not just physically, but spiritually? The Bible talks about wise and foolish builders. One builds on rock, the other on sand. When the storm comes, one house stands, the other falls. What's your foundation built on? I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to prepare you. There's a difference. Fear paralyzes. Preparation empowers. Right now, you have time to get ready. You have time to stock up. You have time to make a plan. Don't waste that time. Let's talk about what happens after this immediate storm passes, because if you think this is it, you're wrong. Early January sees a brief, moderating trend. Temperatures come up a few degrees. Some snow melts. People breathe a sigh of relief. But that relief is premature. Because mid-January, around the 15th to the 22nd, the models are showing another major Arctic outbreak, potentially a historic winter storm. The track isn't certain. The timing isn't nailed down, but the pattern is there. Cold air in Canada, moisture from the Gulf, a jet stream positioned to bring them together. That's the recipe. Here's what I'm seeing in the extended forecast. Week 1 of January, cold locked in across the east. Moderating temperatures across the central U.S. Multiple clipper systems bringing light to moderate snow to the Great Lakes and Northeast. Week 2, mid-latitude blocking brings milder air and messy conditions. This is when you get freeze-thaw cycles. Snow melts during the day, refreezes at night. Ice layers build up. This is actually more dangerous than fresh snow because ice is slippery in ways snow isn't. Week 3, and this is the one that keeps me up at night, a major pattern shift. Cold air dumps into the central and eastern U.S. storm systems begin tracking from the Rockies through the Midwest. On the northwest side of those lows, where cold air meets Gulf moisture, heavy snowfalls. We could be looking at a storm that affects 20 or 30 or 40 million people. Major cities could see significant snow. Travel could be shut down for days. Week 4. The last week of January, the cold persists, but the storm track shifts south. That's when the southern states start sweating. Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, these states aren't built for snow. They don't have plows. They don't have salt. 1 inch of snow causes chaos. Schools close. Roads close. People panic. And yet it happens every few years. The South gets snow. And every time, they're not ready. Now I want to talk to the people who can't stay home. The essential workers. You know who you are. Healthcare workers. Emergency responders. Utility crews. Snowplow drivers. You're the ones who keep civilization running when everyone else hunkers down. You're the ones out there at 3 a.m. clearing roads or restoring power or answering emergency calls. I see you, I appreciate you, and I'm praying for you. Please be careful out there, take breaks, stay warm, and know that your community depends on you. Here's a practical tip that could save your life. If you lose power in freezing temperatures, do not use your gas oven or stove to heat your home. I know it's tempting, I know it seems like a solution, but it's a death sentence. Gas appliances produce carbon monoxide. In a properly ventilated kitchen, it vents outside. But when you're using it for heat with doors and windows closed, it builds up. You can't smell it. You can't see it. You just get drowsy. And then you die. Every single winter, people die this way. Don't be one of them. If you lose power, layer up with clothing and blankets. If you have a fireplace, use it. If you don't, consider going to a warming center. Your local emergency management office will have a list. Don't be too proud to ask for help. Freezing to death at home because you didn't want to inconvenience anyone is not noble. It's tragic. Let me paint a picture of New Year's Eve across this country. In Times Square, 1 million people are going to pack in to watch the ball drop. Wind chills will be in the teens. If you're one of those people, you need to dress like you're going Arctic camping. Thermal base layer, insulating mid layer, waterproof shell, hat that covers your ears, gloves, not mittens, because you need your phone, scarf wrapped around your face, hand warmers in your pockets, foot warmers in your boots. And even then, you're going to be cold because standing still in the teens for hours is brutal on the human body. In the middle of the country, New Year's Eve looks cold but dry. The Midwest and Plains will be below freezing, but the snow is focused on the Great Lakes. In the South, temperatures are moderating. Some places might even be pleasant. And on the West Coast, heavy rain is soaking California. Los Angeles could see 1 to 3 inches. After all the rain they've had, that's a mudslide concern. If you're in Southern California, stay weather aware. Flood watches, evacuation orders, take them seriously. Now here's a twist. While we freeze, Alaska is warm. How is that possible? It's the jet stream. That southward buckle over the eastern U.S. is pulling cold air from the Arctic. But that air has to be replaced. Warmer air from the Pacific flows into Alaska, so they lose their cold and we gain it. Weather is a zero-sum game. When one region gets an extreme, another region gets the opposite. The low-pressure system reaching 950 millibars is significant. For comparison, a normal low-pressure system might be 990 or 980. At 950, we're talking about a powerhouse. The pressure gradient, the difference between this low and the high pressure to the south, creates wind. Strong, sustained wind, and that wind is what makes this storm so dangerous. Wind blows snow around even when it's not snowing. Wind creates dangerous wind chills. Wind brings down trees and power lines. The counterclockwise flow around this low is textbook meteorology. Air spirals into the center of the low, rises, and then spills out at the top. As it does, it pulls more air in behind it. That air comes from the north, from the Arctic, and it funnels down through Canada into the United States. A direct pipeline of Arctic air, no moderating, no warming, just pure cold. Here's something meteorologists argue about behind closed doors. Is climate change making winter storms worse? The honest answer is we don't know for sure. The atmosphere holds more moisture in a warming world, which can lead to heavier snow when temperatures are cold enough. But we also need cold air for snow, and there's debate about whether Arctic air masses are weakening or not. What we do see is a wavier jet stream, more extremes, bigger temperature contrasts, and bigger contrasts can fuel stronger storms. But attributing any single storm to climate change is scientifically problematic. This storm is being driven by specific atmospheric dynamics that have been happening for millennia. The Greenland block, the lake effect process, the cold air damming. These aren't new. They're well understood. So while long-term trends are interesting to discuss, they don't change the reality of what's happening right now. And right now, we have a dangerous situation that requires action. Let's talk about the mental health side of winter storms. Cabin fever is real. Seasonal affective disorder is real. When you're stuck inside, when it's dark and cold, when you can't do the normal activities that bring you joy, it affects your brain chemistry. Serotonin levels drop. Melatonin production increases. You feel sluggish, depressed, irritable. If that's you, know that it's not weakness, it's biology. And there are things you can do. Light therapy, vitamin D supplements, exercise, even indoors, social connection, even if it's virtual, and prayer. Never underestimate the power of prayer. If you're someone who lives alone, please have a phone tree. People you call or text every day, people who will notice if you don't respond. Because in winter emergencies, especially power outages, the people most at risk are isolated individuals. Elderly, disabled, mentally ill. If you know someone in that category, check on them daily. It could save their life. Now let's talk about animals. If you have pets, they're your responsibility. Dogs and cats can get hypothermia and frostbite. Don't leave them outside. If you have livestock, they need shelter from wind. They need water, which means breaking ice or using heated buckets. They need extra calories because they burn more energy staying warm. If you have chickens, they need supplemental heat when it gets below zero. These creatures depend on you. Don't let them down. Here's a prediction. Mid-January brings another significant storm. I don't have exact details yet because we're 3 weeks out. But the pattern is there. The ingredients are lining up. When I see setups like this, with cold air positioned just right and moisture available and the jet stream in the right configuration, I get a feeling. Call it intuition. Call it pattern recognition. This month is going to be memorable for winter weather. The cumulative snowfall for January is going to be impressive. Not from one megastorm, though one of those is possible, but from multiple events over a cold pattern. Snow falls and it doesn't melt. More snow falls on top. It compounds. That's how you get extreme snowpack. An extreme snowpack creates its own problems. Roofs under stress, weight limits exceeded, collapses. Every winter we see roofs collapse under snow load. It's preventable with proper clearing, but it requires someone to get up there and do it. And not everyone can. Let me ask you a hard question. What scares you most about winter? Losing power? Being trapped at home? Driving in it? Running out of supplies? Whatever it is, name that fear. Because unnamed fears control us. Named fears can be addressed. If you're scared of losing power, get a backup plan. If you're scared of being trapped, stock up now. If you're scared of driving, don't drive. Fear properly directed leads to preparation. Fear ignored leads to tragedy. Here's the truth. We live in a world where nature is more powerful than we are. We can build cities and control so much of our environment, but we can't stop a winter storm. We can't turn off the cold. We can't make the snow stop falling. All we can do is prepare, endure, and help each other. That's it. That's the playbook. The storm is here. It's real. It's dangerous, but it's also temporary. Spring will come. It always does. The question is, who will you be during the hard part? Will you be the person who prepared and helped others? Or will you be the person who ignored warnings and suffered needlessly? The choice is yours. Here's what I need you to do right now. Before you click away, before you scroll to the next video, make a decision. Decide to take this seriously. Decide to prepare. Decide to be the person your community needs. Check your supplies. Make a plan. Reach out to neighbors. Stay informed. And pray. Pray for safety. Pray for wisdom. Pray for strength. Because faith without works is dead, but works without faith are empty. Stay safe out there. Stay warm. Stay connected. This is not the end of winter. This is just the beginning. Mid-January is coming. The patterns are setting up. And when it hits, I'll be here with the information you need. Until then, take care of yourself and each other. God bless.